All right, we're back. Chuck Arnold 3000 has subbed using Prime. Frosty Live has subbed as well. Well, that was wonderful. Um, yes, you guys have missed nothing. I am going to stream till 12:30-ish, maybe 12:45. Um, I've got a tech conference I got to go to. They're going to show the Niantic Harry Potter game, sort of like Pokemon Go, that I think just came out. So I want to check that out and hear the people that worked on that talk about their experience, bring that to life. It's kind of exciting. All right. So today there are a couple things I want to take care of. Tech conference, Crispy Egg Roll. It's called Shape. I actually presented at that. It's a AT&T thing that they're doing on the Warner Brothers lot. I presented at the last, it was the first Shape conference they did at Warner Brothers. I did a presentation last year. This year I'm just going to go as someone to check out one of these panels. Okay. Yeah, so all the Super Bowl giveaways, I've got the list from Kirihiko. So now that I'm back in town, I'm going to start scratching those off. And then the other thing is, well, never mind. So I'm going to do this piece here. This is something I promised Kirihiko I would do. I am going to karate chop this wooden piece of board live on stream with my drawing hand. That's the so. Okay, that was horrible. Attempted humor. So I'm supposed to draw something on here. I just did a stream to thank the subs. That's right. Thank you very much, Unique Man Child. All right. What, Kirihiko? I'm just drawing whatever, but someone's gonna like cut into this wood, right? So I can't do a circle, right? Because if I do a full circle, that piece of middle wood will fall out. Correct? Golf Boy Sunday. That's as good as it gets. It's burning. Okay. But can I make a soup can? Is that all right? So Kirihiko, but I just can't put too much detail, correct? Like how fine of a point can this person go? Can you put up a link to this person's work so I can see what I'm like dealing with? So I'm going to work on that, and then I'm also going to start another project. It's a cover that's due, and hopefully I can get to it. And Kirihiko, it doesn't matter what character I draw, but it is for charity, so I should draw something like, I shouldn't draw like Patrick, the starfish. Like drawing a KB Bradshaw. Try not to have super fine detail, like drawing a tattoo. How many tattoos have I drawn? I've seen people draw my art on their, like I've seen it transfer. They did a pretty good job getting that detail, to be honest. Make sure it has no eyes. That's a given. Pyrography, is that what it's technically called? I'm amazed at how much detail pyrography. I should definitely draw Patrick. What happened to Kirihiko? Is she searching for a link? Superhero swimmer art has reset for 21 months. Too many more technical difficulties. Yeah, you know how it is. You sent it through Discord. All right. Let me go pop into Discord here. Oh, he already made an example. All right. Ooh, wow. All right. There's some rendering. Interesting. Very fine rendering. Okay. Got it. Okay. And this is for Um, excuse me. All right. Draw the bat logo. All right. A couple things have been asked. One was, what does it take to get into comics? I said it's the same thing as before, which is talent and hard work and a little bit of luck. But the great thing about today, which differentiates it from the past, is that you don't need my blessing to be a comic book artist. You don't need me to hire you. You don't need anyone to hire you. You can be a comic book artist, albeit not paid, by taking any story, preferably your own or a friend's, and just draw it. And you can post those results online, and you will be able to share it with a small community of people, and hopefully it grows over time. So you don't need anyone to validate you becoming what you want to be. All right. So you have no excuse. Just do it. Right. Just draw. Yeah. So that's the answer. So Batman '89. Yeah. I did that interview on CNN. I don't know if anyone has linked to that. And after I did that interview, and I was just sort of relying on my memory of Batman 1989, Tim Burton, the first Batman movie. So it got me really psyched going, yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, as I was saying all these things, like in my head, I'm going, oh yeah, that's right. That movie did do this. And I do remember that bit of the movie. So I got a 4K disc from The Office, because that's what Warner Brothers does. It produces that kind of stuff. And I went home and I watched it with my wife, our 14-year-old son, our 7-year-old daughter, and 5-year-old son. And the two youngest ones tapped out after about half of it. It's too scary, too intense for them. And it was weird trying to see it through their eyes, like Jack Nicholson. I mean, it is pretty frightening. And Kira, I'm going to ink on this, right? So you can see the lines. Okay, and but there are other things I didn't realize, like all the double entendres and sort of adult bits of kind of language in there. I thought it held up pretty good. It's weird because costumes and cosplay costumes have gotten so good that the costume itself, I've seen better versions of the Batsuit now at Comic-Con. So, what was really cutting edge back then is, it's middle of the road quality these days, right? And you realize how big the cowl is over someone's head, which makes their head look really big on their body. And, Michael Keaton was pretty slim back then. So he looked best when the cape kind of hides his silhouette, but the times when he kind of moved around, you could see his body silhouette. He was not a buff Batman, kind of more like year one Batman, but it still looked good. But I will say that, the Vicky Vale character, Kim Basinger, at one point, Bruce Wayne just tells her, like, shut up, like pushes her down and says, shut up. And I'm like, you would never do that today in a story. And she spends a lot of time in the movie kind of fainting and kind of just hemming it, like just looking like she's got her head cut off, like in moments of stress that would definitely not fly today. So you do see, like, it's 30 years. So you can see sort of how storytelling and superhero narratives have changed in 3 decades for the better, I believe. So, but Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne is fantastic. Like, just sort of like, he's funny and he's like a little discombobulated, and a bit haunted, right? And that was really cool. And then also the Batmobile. I don't know if I've ever seen the Batmobile kind of respond to voice commands before. And that's something that we incorporated, I think, into Hush. And I think it came from that movie, I want to say. Oh, no, maybe in the 66 show it did that as well. It's hard for me to say, but the Alfred from Batman '89, he's just fantastic. He's hilarious. And then that line, it's a bit sexist, but I mean, when he asks Kim Basinger, like, if he can, how much do you weigh? And she goes like 102, and he shoots the zip line up, and they go up, and then later he says, I think you weigh a bit more than 102. It was a funny line. It just kind of showed like kind of the thinking of Batman and how he would be able to assess that because he knew like what the tensile strength of that cable was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it's funny when I saw it when I was like 25 or so in theater, and I was a comic book professional at that point. I thought the action was really muted, but then watching it now, it's not. It's actually pretty dynamic, I thought. So it's interesting how the movie didn't change, but my recollection and my opinion of it has changed in 30 years. And then there's that last shot where Batman's standing on a gargoyle with the moon, I believe, or is it the bat symbol? The bat symbol, I think. And the cape's just slightly fluttering. And I remember back in '89 when I saw that, I was like, oh, they missed the opportunity. The cape should have been flowing more dramatically, and more bombastically, because that was like Image Comics, right? Or pre-Image, right around that time. Like everything was over the top, dialed to 10. That always bugged me when I was 25. But now looking at it, I was like, no, this is so much more beautiful. It's understated. It's just, so again, it shows you that the material is the same, but my experience of it has changed. So, yeah. No, I don't think. See, that's the thing. I think back then I thought the cape should have been flying, but now I'm like, I think it's cool. I like it being more understated. It's not this bombastic superhero Batman. It's like this very subtle figure in the night, and yeah, Hexen 007. Yeah, peaceful, a little more somber, maybe, right? Yes, a somber, more reflective Batman. Really great music too. All right, let's get this done for charity's sake. So pencils only. Ay, ay, ay. I got the message from Kate. Pencils only. Thing is, you can't hardly really see the pencils online. Can you? I mean, you can see a little bit. All right. I'm doing a lot of underdrawing. Okay. Let's see if this shows up. You know what might help is if I turn the lights away so we don't get as much of a shine. How does that look? Okay, can you guys see that? Yeah, great. And the Batwing was awesome. But even then, I was watching this going like, think of the production budget. I mean, obviously in $1989 or $88, and just really the love and care that it went to each shot and the Art Deco. Everything was kind of bespoke looking and a nod, I'm sure, to other sort of classic movies that Tim Burton loved. But it was just beautiful. And Jack Palance is awesome. And of course, Jack Nicholson, much scarier than I imagined or remember. Again, I was watching with my kids and they were not handling the Joker scenes that well. But they didn't have nightmares. They didn't wake up in the middle of the night. So that was good. So I don't know when we're going to revisit that. They've seen a little bit of Star Wars. They've not sat through all of that either. My other older kids, I remember kind of hiding behind the couch as we would watch it, but I think they were a little bit older. We're going to go see Toy Story today, so we'll make up for it. Like, it's not all about subjecting them to dads. movies from yesteryear. But for sure, the production values are amazing. He did some stuff with old, kind of a shout out to old horror movies in terms of he used animation techniques, right? Like the very first time you see Batman looking down on a building, you see him turn away from looking down the street, and you see his cape, the shadow of it, extend as he walks towards a doorway that would get him into the building. And then later, I think there's headlights, or not headlights, spotlights shining upon this Gothic church. And those are animated, I believe, right? Does anyone know? I think they are. Um, so the director was definitely pulling out all the stops and trying to achieve certain effects before they're readily available. Then even the Batmobile kind of locking up, like early days of CGI, but it looked good, held up. Transfer was pretty clean. Someone was saying that the sound effects were completely redone. I don't know anything about that. They didn't. I didn't notice anything odd about that. I was watching on a pretty big screen. I think I want to say, was it projection? Was it projection TV? Not projection TV. What am I looking for? It's like a home theater thing. So I think it was like 120 inches or 130. Show. Four Locos, and Metabot Link, and R. Witterson, and Kanger Banger have all resubbed. Thank you very much. Jonella has cheered, pledged on Kickstarter for the backpack. And SM Cardi, no ink on this. Thank you for the notice. I appreciate it. The Neckbeard Network has subbed, and Uraha has subbed as well. Hatrad brings me current. Okay. I was not flexing steak and cheese. I was merely stating that. So, on the 4K transfer at that size, it still looked really good. So I think those of you that are really into resolution and that kind of audio files or cinematic files or whatever I'm talking about, audio visual files, it came through. I'll tell you that at this point, almost all our movies that we have at home are on the cloud. We buy through Apple for the most part. But any of the big action movies, I still go and buy the 4K discs. I have a 4K player, and because I think the blacks shadows look better, and I think just the amount of digital information is more. I think when you stream it, it gets either compressed or dialed down a bit. I don't know. I think I compared a streaming episode of Game of Thrones to an episode I had on 4K, like a disc, and I did notice a difference. Okay. I want to look back on what Kate sent me. So this person, they can do black areas. But I bet that's a pain for them to do. I bet white lines are a pain for them to do. I was going to do like a black background with rain, but it's not like he could paint. He's drawing. Yeah, it's not going to be the same. Excuse me. Okay. Byron the Bulb has resubbed. Scuffner has resubbed. Kangerbanger has cheered. Can't wait to get the backpack. Yeah. I did a little video on the backpack, but I'm gonna do one where I put like the phone like on a couch and then I'll just step back to see all the details. I'm pretty proud of it. Like we spent months on it, and just for I think people were asking the company just to make the portfolio itself because it literally is the size of the artboards and it is perfect for traveling and it's not gigantic. And then there's a strap so you can put it around your shoulder. Okay. You know what I like to do sometimes? Well, actually, I don't do this, but when I was younger, I would draw like the face underneath the mask just to see if it worked. Right? Like, so if there was a nose here. Right? That's where the nose would be, right? All right. I'm going to put Kate's friend to the test. I'm going to add some shadows. Anyway, I'm here this Sunday, and I'm in town next Sunday as well. So I'm looking forward to streaming as well next weekend. And I do have a cover I have to do, so that might happen. I always say that I'm going to do this, but I do have to do this cover by the 28th, so an evening stream is very likely, and I might even actually start it today. I don't know, there's something a little off. I'm going to change this eye. With wood, it's hard to look backwards through the light. Just the angle of the... And I'm going to move this eye over a little bit too. First day of summer, was that yesterday? Yeah. So it's pretty exciting, man. My cattle dog. Please take your dog out, let it pee. Do not make him deal with that. Okay. But now the eyes are going like that. The nose is going like this. The mouth is at a funny angle, and then the chin has to change. It's actually a little tricky getting all the... that's why I like, even though I've drawn this 3/4 shot of Batman many times, sometimes it turns out different each and every time. And so I'm often surprised, both pleasantly and unpleasantly, by the final result. I think in future streams, though, I'm gonna, aside from the uh, the critique panels, which I'll start up again. Um, I would like to return to kind of drawing some characters I normally wouldn't draw. Usually, like typically manga. Anime characters. That was kind of a fun period of time. But there are still some covers that are coming up that I gotta take care of. There's still something funny about this nose mouth combo. I'm gonna have to. I'm happy with the eyes. I see what I want to do. I think this is also doing something weird to this wood. It's kind of turning this dark brown. Okay, that's good. You know what? All right, this is what I'm gonna do for this guy. I'm assuming it's a guy. Might be a gal. I don't know. I'm going to cast some shadows. See what he can do. I will give some verbal instructions if you could pass along, Kate. When he gets down to this area, if it's easier for him, he can make this all black. I'm trying to create something that feels a little more graphical. So when you see it from a distance, it's almost like the bat symbol itself rather than a drawing. At least that's the intent. We'll see what happens. Okay. How's that look? Guys. Here, let me put up the angle because you're seeing it at an angle, so it's already distorted a little bit. A little distorted still. There we go. Wo man guckt kurz nicht hin und schon ist da voll der Batman am Start. Where someone looks quickly not here and already there's almost a Batman at the start. I think he's basically saying if you look away quickly, it's already done, kind of. I think that's what he said. I don't know. Oh, DJ Mittens. Hey, welcome in. Yeah, someone's inking this using a heated tool. How was my German translation? There's a lot of hin and voll and words like that. Not bad. Um, don't worry, der Sturmeier. Ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch, aber nur ein bisschen. I'll see you at Baltimore as well, David. Angry Panda has resub. Thank you very much. Odd B818, PJ Bicer, Cold Stone Snake 316, and Byron the Bulb have all resubbed. DMS Design has cheered. Thank you very much. Give Knox a grant. That was a funny line too. Conzip, I learned German in high school and a little bit in college. Nightbot is incorrect. I've already been to Washington State Summer Comic Con, so that's over. Next show is San Diego Comic Con. Looking forward to that. Just because there's a bit of a break, I can kind of recharge. And obviously, San Diego is San Diego. It's going to be this cool sort of Batman's 80th that we're celebrating that Wednesday night of the show. And yeah, Batman's 80th. It's going to play a big role. And then the next show after that, I believe, is not until Toronto. Going to Fan Expo Canada in Toronto in end of August. Eric Fisher Art. When's the next torpedo sign? I had dinner with John last night, and we're talking about a lot of things, but nothing is planned. But I'm sure I'll show up at some point. Do I have an autobiography? No, there's nothing interesting in my life that's worth writing about. I don't know any Japanese. Sorry. It's doubtful gesture that I'll make it to Heroes Con in Charlotte. Nothing planned. I've got my probably cons for the next 2 years already kind of laid out. TwitchCon is what, end of October? And I think end of October, is it end of October? I think I will be at Baltimore Comic Con. So after Toronto, what do I have after Toronto? September, I don't have a show, I don't think. So I think it goes San Diego Comic Con, New York Comic Con, Baltimore Comic Con, and then negotiating for finalizing plans for a show October. No, take it back. I have a show at the end of September. Yeah, it's a show that would be at the end of September. Let me Google this here. The heck? Hmm. Yeah. Let me hold on. I might have double booked. Got to make sure that has not happened. Yeah, Baltimore is like the weekend before Halloween. And then there's a show first weekend in November. Yeah. So for the remainder of the year, that's San Diego, Toronto, New York, Baltimore, and then potentially this other show. And that would be it. Hold on 1 second. I gotta close the door. So let's see. We got a cheer from Quick Draw 13. How do you normally pull up at after? How do you normally pull up after a big show? Um, just did a 3-day con. Everything hurts. Was behind a table all 3 days. Yeah. And Janella has cheered. I'll be in the U.S. September, October. Are there cons during those months? Yeah, just the ones I mentioned. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I haven't sat behind a table for 3 days in a long time, but that's normal, man. I don't know. That's paying your dues. When I go to shows now, it's pretty organized, like to the minute or half hour. They've got things I have to be doing. So it's rare to just be at a table. I usually am not at a table doing meet and greets or whatever. The only thing to say is like maybe pace yourself a little bit over the course of the 3 days. Take breaks, walk around. You don't have to be there every minute. Just have a schedule, like posted at your thing, like, hey, Jamie is, taking a break. We'll be back at 4 and just be, fairly reliable on that front. And so, it's not the quantity of time, it's the quality of the time. So, and maybe think about maybe just doing 2 of the 3 days. And I understand you're paying to be there, or you're flying out there, or they're bringing you out. Maybe there's an obligation to do 3, but I find that usually on the last day, it gets pretty slow. Maybe have a friend or someone mind the table while you're not there so they can answer questions, take take commission requests, things like that. So yeah, DJ Mittens. Yeah, some people have been taking sketches from the stream and putting them online. That was one of the motivating factors, actually, behind kind of ending the giveaways. It's their art. They paid the sub. They won fair and square. But same time, I don't have to continue the practice, so I chose not to. But anyway, the giveaways that I have the list from Kirihiko that will start going out. And what I'll do is maybe put out a notice in the member for everyone to see that things like I'll say this item has gone out. And so everyone can kind of see that there's some progress. So even if your item didn't go out, you go like, at least they sent something out. So I should be up soon kind of thing. But don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. all those items like the statues and DVDs. I've pulled them all. They're basically sitting in a closet at the office, just waiting for my assistant to kind of pull it, package it, etc., etc. Da-da-da. Yeah, why here? I think I was just talking about that. All right, I think I'm gonna end it like this. There's a fair bit of line work, so here you go. I would tell them like if it looks daunting, rather than trying to cross hatch and do anything like some of these lines, just make them into black shapes, because I think that will always look better than like if you don't understand the cross hatching. I would just blacken it out for the purposes of this collaboration. I think the black shapes from the example you sent me look better than cross-hatched. All right. And it's hard to see this pencil on the shiny board. The board is actually pretty reflective, so sometimes I'm kind of drawing blind. If there was a period in time where people were drawing comic books on wooden boards, back in the Renaissance, I don't know when they would have done it. You can see why it didn't survive. We needed paper to make this happen. I guess they had paper during the Renaissance. I don't know. A little bit of a cast shadow here. Hopefully, the rest will be able to handle that. Punker 13. I try to be respectful, man. I was a guest of the Giants. I wore black. I've got a ton of Dodgers gear. I didn't wear any of it, and they gave me me and my whole family a bunch of Giants hats, which we were appreciative to get. They're very, very nice. In particular, the players that we were meeting up with. Okay, I'm gonna sign this, right? Sign it right here. And then I'm going to put some other kind of random line work here to kind of push this out. Yeah, Derek Holland is a big gamer. Just he's into Batman big time. Super nice guy. Okay. Let's go. Wastorm CCG with the mad puns. All right. It is done. Hopefully it meets with your satisfaction, Kira. Let's see if we can get a decent look at it here. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Anyway, all right. Where's the soundtrack? Yeah. Hmm? Jim, Soren Warman. Another day you said how many characters there are in the DC universe. Can you say it again? I think there's like 10 to 25,000 depending on what you like. Is the Batcave a character? Obviously it's not, but it is a bit of IP. Like it's a unique bit of IP. So, organizations, from Checkmate to Leviathan. So I think that the estimate is in that kind of range, over 10,000, under 25,000. Okay. Thank you, DJ Mittens. That was a lot of fun to do. A lot of work. More work. I came up with the idea like um, of having all these characters together because it was a political. It's not something that everyone just agrees to do. Usually, companies don't like to commingle their characters with other characters. But I felt like for the 50th anniversary of the Comic Con, we can all get along and figure out a way. So I had to kind of pull some strings and make some calls and get people to see the value of doing this. So I was able to do something that probably would have been able to do much easier to do like 30 years ago, but in today's day and age with the competitive companies would be very difficult to do. But I got everyone to agree, and we got it done. And yeah, it was a unique, fun experience. I've drawn the Ninja Turtles a couple times, but that was actually probably the most fun. I like drawing the Ninja Turtles just because they're so cartoony and you can kind of just goof around with it. And obviously, drawing Marvel and DC characters, I've done that before. Drawing Hellboy for the first time was cool, and then obviously Walking Dead and Spawn. So I think it obviously doesn't include everyone. There's obviously a lot of indie comics or underground comics that aren't represented, but it's impossible to include everyone. And I felt this kind of represents the bulk of the people that you know either come to Comic Con or that's what they think of when they think of Comic Con. So I'm going to get to the actual assignment at hand. I'm not going to finish it this stream, but I will finish it in another stream. But I'm doing a cover for Ruby. It is a Rooster Teeth comic that we're doing. It's been announced. I don't think it's been announced that I'm doing a cover, but excuse me. So I got to pull up the appropriate reference. Was better. Let's see. I'm trying to find a shot of all four of them. Easier said than done. Although that's not bad. That looks like fan art though, but that's not, I mean, I say fan art, unpublished art, but it looks great. Let's see. Let's type in large. Ah, beautiful. All right, some Four Locos. How did I learn to draw? Again, you didn't study art in college. I was a psychology major. I have a degree in psychology, but I've been drawing ever since I was like 5 years old. And yeah, you don't need a degree in art. But if you want to get one, that's cool. Can't hurt. But again, if you want to be a comic book artist, you can just start drawing comic books. And there you go. All right. I'm like checking this stuff out. I see some pretty dynamic art. These characters look pretty cool. So, okay, you figure the. There we go. Okay. Trade dress logo is going to go like roughly there. Baldwin, let's play. Hello from LA. See you later, DJ Mittens. Thank you, Pizza X Pizza Rally X. Let's do this here. You know what? Second. I'm going to shrink myself down here. I don't know. Taking up too much real estate. Okay. One character there. It's four characters, so one character there, and another character here. Soup can, soup can, soup can, soup can. All right. Is this bright enough? Yeah, I hope so. Some pretty badass designs. I think I'm gonna go. Let's see, RW. I'm gonna go Yeah, I'll put Y down here, yellow. How many of you guys are making it to San Diego Comic Con, by the way? First time for Professor Awesomeness. Great. If I win the lottery on Wednesday, okay, I'll look for you there. Jay Belmont has resubbed. Martin from San Antonio has resubbed as well. Thank you. Jay Solomon 10. Trevor Kai has cheered. That was a fantastic mashup. Love it. Oh, talking about the San Diego Comic Con cover. Cool. Quick Draw 13. How's the convention countdown going? How many shows left? Will we ever see you in Sydney again? I answered that second. Jay Roscoe. Thank you very much for subbing. I think I already thanked you. Yeah, I kind of stopped counting because I know I'm so far away, but I do know where I was. I think at Calgary was the last time I counted, so I will just do a tally at some point, probably at the end of the year, and see where I'm at. But look, if you're doing 10 shows roughly a year, 10 years, so it's another way of doing it. Not literally 100, but roughly, so that would be, you know, to make an even number, let's say 2030. Right, 11 years from now. Oh, it look very different in 11 years. Superhero swimmer art. Dun, dun, dun. It always, hey, this is very maudlin, but it always trips me out when there are people that have died around my age that I am now, or shortly thereafter, and I feel like, wow, that would be a very short life. I feel like there's still a lot to do. A lot I feel like I haven't accomplished yet, so keeps me motivated. I'm just creating poses really for the sake of creating poses. I don't know what's going on. Let's just what I noticed is these four women have roughly the same kind of body shape, so I can pretty much move them around as need be. So let's just start with. Steak and cheese. Did I find it hard to get HB leads for the 5.6 lead holder? Can I tell you something? Steak and cheese? I am still, and I got this pencil years ago, maybe a decade ago. I am still on the same original piece of lead. I've never replaced it. But I would imagine it's all online. No? What is up with the text? Just realized. Let's do this. Never mind. It's fine. It's kind of hard to read it's hard to read the chat. White on white, I just realized. Okay. Jugger Grimrod. Yeah, that's kind of. Look, I have panels. I think a spotlight panel Thursday, and then a how to draw panel Friday, and that's what they've slowly been morphing into. It's kind of like if there is a narrative that comes about through me talking about kind of my career or life is like a follow your passions. Don't wait for other people to tell you yes. Work hard. Um, you know, always be open to learning from your successes and failures. So yeah, Kanger Banger. I don't remember what I did last year. It's sad. I have my memory is shot. Like I've done a gazillion panels, and that's why I always ask like how many people have been to a previous panel because I do know that I have told some stories quite a few times, especially San Diego. I'm always worried that I'm kind of falling this rut where I'm kind of telling the same stories without realizing it, which I believe is a sign of senility. Cone Bread 5. Are you better at comics in 2019 than you were in 1995? I would like to think so, but I'm sure there are many that also do not believe so. But what do they know? And ultimately, it doesn't matter. Meaning, doesn't matter. Yeah, well, you want to be sensitive to what the fans think. Absolutely. But you got to be happy with what you're doing. Tim Stacy, thanks. I think. I think at any age, like there are things you've done that are good, and then some things that are not so good at any age, and it's not for lack of trying or intent. It just is that way. There's a weird blind spot that happens when you create anything, and kind of like what I was talking about with Batman '89. Some things that you think are good, were was a good idea in '95, not such a great idea today, and vice versa, right? It looks like this character is knocking this other one on the head. What if we did this? I know it's going over the logo. Some editors don't like it. I personally like it when the art goes over the logos. I think it makes the book stand out. Especially characters like Batman or Superman. I don't care if you can't read the logo. You'll figure it out. You look at the picture. You know it's Batman or whatever. But some people, it bugs them. Thank you for the cheer, Mr. Ice Chip. Mr. Ice Chip, what does that come from? The only time that I've ever used ice chips is for to deal with nausea and pregnancy. Not my pregnancy, but you know that's what they recommend because water will make pregnant women throw up in as they get closer to labor. So they encourage them to take ice chips, which kind of alleviates the thirst, but without providing too much liquid. The Arkham 89. This makes me want to cheer. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for cheering. I am drawing anime girls. I have ascended to a higher plane of existence. Baz Gannon. That is right, Trevor Kai. I just want to make sure I'm not trying to take credit for all the pregnancies. Okay. They all look like they're cheering, like, yeah. A Rhett Penciler. You probably will get more followers if you were to change your name. I mean, just saying. It's not a bad idea to be family inclusive. Matt T Tattoo. You don't use the stick figure method when drawing people? Yeah, I just don't draw the stick figure. But I do think of kind of obviously there's a line here and a line there, line here, etc., etc. The image is frizzed. What does that mean? The image is frizzed. The fat flaccid penciler. Yes, yes. That video's frozen. My camera's frozen. Oh, that happened last time too. How did I fix it though? No, it's frozen here. How did I fix it? I think I deactivated and reactivated. There we go. Superhero swimmer art. No, you can't change it now. All right. Let's start making some adjustments. Okay. There's one. All right. So who's going to be who? Kiriko. No, I don't want to do that. Take that back. I think I'll do the cape here. So this would be Ruby. Oh, she's got the scythe. Okay. So I had the sword going down this way, but it's a bad tangent with that arm, so I moved it over. So it crosses over. Tangents are when lines like a sword would go right against this line here, like that. That tangent is bad. Can someone explain in chat why tangents are bad? Like if there was a ball, and the ball were right there, like this, a ball shape. All those things are correct, yes. Okay. Let's do this. Baz Gannon, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Superhero swim art. You make it sound really bad to be 50 years old. So this character is going to be in the foreground, so I need to make her a little bit bigger. Block that out a little bit larger. Mm, maybe arms back further into space. No. Let's work on her and I'll figure out the character behind her a little bit. Feel like rather than doing traditional kind of jumping out at you superhero poses, these characters are a little more ballet-like in their movements, right? So what happens if I do that? No, that no good. She waving high? That's probably not a good idea unless I bring up both. And like it's the sword is like it's kind of a different type pose. And I'm drawing with a pretty thick pencil, as you can see. You know, 1 second. There's a lot of schmutz on here. There you go. Still looks schmutzy. All right. It's kind of worse now. Thanks. Let's try this. You know what? Maybe it's just matter of kind of different costumes. So what happens if I? It's almost like a tutu. Or not. Again, I'm trying to do slightly different poses from traditional kind of characters that leap out at you superhero poses. So what happens if I drop that shoulder down, pop that elbow out? I don't know. I think I liked it better back. Just have to figure out how it works with. Yeah, let's do that. Utters Prime, I'm doing good. I feel I'm getting a little bit of personality into the sketch now at this point, so I just need to. Oh, I kind of want to keep this arm, this leg out. Something like that. Hello, Canvas Engineer. You seem to erase a lot to move stuff around when you do a composition, but your lines don't seem super light on camera. Yeah, it's thick paper, but I don't. It's a very soft lead. That's all I can say. And I don't dig too hard. It's a dark lead, so it shows up darkly shows up dark, you know. But so it doesn't. It takes minimal amounts of erasing to kind of pick it up like that, right? You know, it's one of those things where you have to play around with the materials that you like and make sure that you are, you know, what works for you. Some people I've seen use very hard leads and they draw super light on the page and to the point where it's really hard to see, like if you're going to ink it. But that's just like the way they like to work, you know. So Hmm. What happens if I... Pretty wicked looking sword. I feel like all the elements are kind of that her sword, and let's see what happens if I move it this way. No, bad tangent with the legs. Let's keep moving it like that. Sometimes I'll blacken in limbs like that because it basically creates three dimensionality. I'm going to back off from it later, but just dropping in big shadows like this helps kind of break the figure into three-dimensional shapes. Same way with this shadow here, kind of falling here. Makes it easier to see what I'm drawing. Struggling Artist 102, it's slash cheer 1000000000. I believe. Don't worry. Do not do that. Do not do that. I'm just messing with you. You have to have the you have to have the money in there. Anyway, um, Deluxe Kilo. I assume so. Nothing wrong with using photo for reference. All right. So now let's move this leg up. See what happens. If he said he didn't, I guess he didn't. I don't know. I don't know enough about his working progress. Mm-hmm. A little too straight up and down. Let me see what happens if I kick it back like this. Then the silhouette's no good. Everything becomes one. I think I'm going to go the other way. I don't want to make it look like she's grabbing her leg there, so I'll have to figure out how to solve for that. But No, keep the foot down. Back to the way I had it first. It's always not a bad. Raven can't really walk. Who's Raven? Are you guys on Overwatch right now? Okay. Roy Batty. Yes, definitely. Zealot was influenced by heavy metal. I don't even know the character's name, but yeah, she had white hair. She was a badass warrior. All these characters have such dramatic flourish. Capes and energy trails and whatnot. Da, da, da. Fried Egg 2019, Ego Bird, and the Every Gamer have sub. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the support. And Hmm. The size, if I put it like that, it's gonna go into that character. Need to, need to push it up like this. Let's see what happens if I do that. Let's try something a little more twisted here. Okay, kind of like that, but now I'm thinking. What happens if I cut it like this? Um, it's hard to see, I guess. I gotta turn it sideways for you guys to get it all in here. Thank you for the cheers, PJ Bicer and Cold Stone Snake 316. Do you have any input on the Hush animated movie coming out? Now, you know what? That was put together before I jumped on board, so it's a different group of people that handled that. Let me see. The only thing I don't like is I've got this thigh going like this, and these thighs kind of going the same way. I'm wondering if what happens. I could have her twist. Hmm. Maybe. Try one other thing here. Let's see what happens. I don't want to make it seem like she's standing. She should, because it won't really work. Something like that. Uh, do I have good stories from Washington State Con? I was in a room for most of the day, so I got to see Chris Claremont. That was kind of cool, and Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, and Ming Chen, uh, and Mike from Comic Book Men Show. I think what other stories? I don't know. My kids had a good time there. The National Guard was set up. I guess they had like Black Hawk helicopters and machine guns and armored personnel carriers and stuff. So Jackie loved that stuff. Okay, I think this is roughly it. Although I'm not sure about this over here. I could put it down like here, which would be kind of interesting. Right. So bad tangent, but I'm gonna have to put her in front. Hmm. Or not. Let's see what happens if I put it back up here and go the other way as originally intended. Oh, gonna hide this arm anyway because I gotta put. Hmm, like that. No, this has to be in front. Okay, let's build that out here. So she's got to be larger. So we're gonna redraw this figure bigger, but not so big that it interferes here. So let's see how we do this. So everything's just a little bit longer. And you know what? I'm gonna do this leg. No, I do this leg forward. No. Let's see. Let's stick to what I've got here. Oops. Lock this down here. pretty happy with everyone else. So what I'm kind of focused on right now is I've got this her weapon. It's large. Just go back into space. Is she holding it one-handed right here? Maybe it's here, like she's holding it forward with her fist. See it behind her like that. I try this here. Just kind of running out of page. Okay, let's do this. Let's give this one last shot here. Let's extend that out. Put this behind her. And then I do like the hand here forward. And then I gotta get going here, but then this leg arm going back. Okay, see how that goes? And she could either be holding the scythe or like that. I wish it weren't so cropped off. I feel like I want to move everything over just a little bit. Maybe shrink everyone just a little bit and move it over. Hmm. I would have to shrink it. I need about 2 inches. All right, one last attempt here. Let's do this. It's okay for it to be cropped off. It just couldn't be cropped off the way it was there. Okay. I think it would have to be like that, and then like that. Mm-hmm. All right. If I can make it recede into space. Let's see, try that. What happens if I am able to take it and make it go down ish behind? Okay, I gotta get going. I think I've got it to where I need it to be, which is so the next sort of phase after this is really kind of fleshing, breaking, cleaning up each figure, right? And right, so like these little spaces here that kind of separate the scythe from her foot. Maybe even see the end of the scythe there, like that. I can live with it. All right, cool. Here, you guys can see the whole thing here. I'll take a photo and put it on Discord. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. I want to also thank our mods, Kirihiko, Crispy Egg Roll, and the Poop Kid for being here through this. I will announce in Discord when the next session is to kind of move this forward. I have to get this done. So, Superhero Swim Art, just resize it digitally? Nah, I don't do that, man. And I make it work here. Anyway, so thank you, mods, for being here, making this run so smoothly. For those of you who are new, there's a Discord channel that's associated with the stream. There's a lot of useful information, a community, people sort of share a lot of information. And at the end of every stream, we try to find another creative on Twitch to kind of raid and kind of share some of our love of pop culture, the art in general. So let me figure out where we're going, and we will go raid somebody. So please hang out for a couple minutes. I usually hang out for a little bit, kind of wind down, and I'll catch you guys soon. All right, have a good one.